Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating story about a seemingly ordinary coin, the 2000 D1 cent coin. But don't be fooled by its appearance, because this penny is worth big money. In fact, some believe it's worth a mind-boggling $37 million. Stick around as we explore the history, mystery, and potential fortune behind this legendary coin. Cut to close-up of the 2000 D penny, slowly rotating under a bright light. If you're a coin collector or just a fan of rare treasures, you've probably heard of this coin. But what makes this particular penny so special? And why does it have a value that could set you back millions? Let's go back in time to uncover the story behind the 2000 D 1 cent coin. The U.S. Mint began producing pennies, or 1 cent coins, way back in 1793. Since then, the design and composition of these little copper-plated coins have gone through many changes. But in the year 2000, a new chapter in penny history was written, and it all started with a small minting error. In 2000, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies, as they did every year. These coins were designed with the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse on the back and the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front. However, in a rare and somewhat confusing twist, one particular penny from the Denver Mint, marked with a D mint mark, became the center of a numismatic mystery. The issue with the 2000 D penny is that a small but significant minting error occurred. Some of the coins produced that year were struck with a double die, meaning that the design was imprinted on the coin twice. This happens when the die used to stamp the design onto the coin gets misaligned. It creates a striking effect where the lettering, the date, and even the outline of Lincoln's portrait become slightly doubled, giving the coin a unique, almost blurry appearance. The mistake was subtle, but to an experienced coin collector, this error was obvious. The 2000 D penny with the double die has raised eyebrows across the numismatic world, and some collectors began to realize that this coin, despite its modest face value of just 1 cent, could be worth a lot more. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. A typical 2000 D penny, without the double die error, would be worth just 1 cent. But as we've seen with other rare minting errors, the value of a coin can soar depending on the rarity of the mistake and how much collectors are willing to pay for it. In the case of the 2000 D double die penny, some collectors believe its value could be as high as $37 million. You might be thinking, how can a coin that looks like a regular penny be worth $37 million? Well, the answer is in the rarity and the demand. Although the error is not as common as some other famous minting mistakes, it's believed that only a few of these double die pennies exist. And as time goes on, these coins become even more rare and sought after by collectors. Some coins with similar errors have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, so it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that a 2000 D double die penny could fetch a whopping $37 million at auction. So you're probably wondering, where can I find a 2000 D double die penny? First, let me tell you, they're not easy to find. Most of these rare coins are either in private collections or have already been sold at auctions. However, they can still pop up in coin shops, estate sales, and online auction sites. If you happen to stumble upon one, check carefully for the double die error. It's always a good idea to examine the coin closely. Look for the telltale signs of a double date, or even a slightly doubled version of Lincoln's profile. The effect might be subtle, but with a good magnifying glass or microscope, you'll be able to spot the error. The 2000 D penny is far from the only famous coin error in history. Minting mistakes have always fascinated collectors and historians. From the rare 1913 Liberty Head nickel to the 1943 copper penny, these errors capture our imagination because they represent an anomaly in an otherwise perfect process. Just like the famous errors of the past, the 2000 D double die penny stands as a symbol of imperfection that can lead to a fortune. The allure of these coins is not just in their rarity, but in the fact that they defy expectations. What was once considered a mistake is now one of the most coveted treasures in the world of numismatics. So, is the 2000 penny really worth $37 million? Well, the answer depends on a lot of factors. How many are out there? How many are in circulation? And who's willing to pay the price at auction? But one thing is for sure, if you ever come across one of these rare coins, you'll have something that could change your financial future forever. Now, keep in mind that just because you find a 2000 penny doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. But for those lucky enough to own one of these rare errors, the value could be astronomical. That's it for today's deep dive into the fascinating world of the 2000 1-cent coin. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin stories. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this penny is worth $37 million? We'd love to hear your opinion. Until next time, keep on collecting, and who knows, maybe you'll find a rare treasure of your own. Next. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of a coin that might seem common, but can actually be worth a small fortune: the 1997 US 1-cent coin. At first glance, it looks like your typical penny, right? But if you dig a little deeper, this penny could be hiding something worth a mind-blowing $38 million. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Stick with me as we uncover the history, mystery, and potential fortune behind this incredible coin. A lot of people probably toss a 1997 penny into their pocket without thinking twice about it. But what if I told you that this very coin could be worth millions of dollars? In this video, we're going to look at the history of the 1997 US penny, some key factors that make certain 1997 pennies worth big money, and how you might find one yourself. So let's get started. Before we jump into why some 1997 pennies could be worth millions, let's first talk about the basics. The 1997 US penny was part of the regular series of 1-cent coins produced by the US Mint. As usual, it features Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, the front side, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, the back side. These coins were produced at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, so you'll see a small P or D mint mark on the coin depending on where it was minted. The 1997 penny is made of copper-plated zinc, weighing just 2.5 grams, and has a face value of just 1 cent. Sounds pretty ordinary, right? But as we've seen with other coins throughout history, even the most unassuming pieces of currency can hold hidden value if the right factors come into play. So, here's where it gets interesting. While most 1997 pennies are worth only 1 cent, some contain an incredibly rare minting error that could turn them into a fortune. We're talking about the famous double die error. A double die error occurs when a coin die, which is used to stamp the design onto the coin, is misaligned. This leads to a doubling effect where the design appears twice, creating blurry or ghost-like images on the coin. For the 1997 penny, this error can be most noticeable in the date and some of the lettering on the coin. The numbers of the year 1997 could appear doubled, and even the words Liberty and In God We Trust could show signs of doubling. To the casual observer, these coins may look like a regular penny, but upon closer inspection, you'll notice that the date is strangely duplicated or blurry. You might be wondering, why is this 1997 penny worth so much? A simple penny doesn't seem like it could be worth millions, right? But here's the thing. Rare errors, like the double die penny, are highly prized by collectors. Minting errors are rare by nature, and the rarer the coin, the more valuable it becomes. A regular 1997 penny has a face value of 1 cent, but a 1997 penny with a double die error could be worth thousands, or even millions, depending on the quality of the error and its condition. The rarity of these coins, combined with the demand from collectors, makes them valuable. Think about it. If you found a 1997 penny in your change, but it had the double die error, you could be looking at a payout that could make you a millionaire. So how do you know if your 1997 penny is worth big money? Well, you'll need to look for the double die error. If you have a 1997 penny, take a magnifying glass or a coin microscope and examine the details closely. Start by looking at the year. The digits of the year 1997 will appear doubled. You might also see the word Liberty or In God We Trust appear blurry or doubled as well. Another great tip is to check for signs of misalignment in the design. On a regular penny, the design should be crisp and clear, but on a double die penny, you'll notice the same details repeated in a slight or sometimes more obvious way. The effect is usually more noticeable under magnification, so if you suspect your penny has this error, don't just toss it aside. So where can you find one of these rare 1997 pennies? Well, they aren't easy to come by. Minting errors, like the double die variety, are incredibly rare, and most of them are tucked away in private collections or sold at auction. But that doesn't mean they're impossible to find. You can check local coin shops, estate sales, or online auction sites like eBay. Sometimes, these rare coins pop up when people are cleaning out old collections or estates. Keep an eye out for listings that specifically mention the double die error, and always inspect the photos carefully to see if you can spot the doubling effect. You might be wondering why minting errors are so fascinating to collectors in the first place. Well, the answer is simple. Mistakes like these make coins unique. Throughout history, coins that were produced with errors have become incredibly valuable. Whether it's the 1913 Liberty Head nickel or the 1943 copper penny, collectors are drawn to these coins because they're anomalies. They're unexpected, rare, and full of history. The 1997 penny, with its double die error, is part of that legacy. It's a coin that shouldn't exist in the way it does, and that's what makes it so intriguing to numismatists and collectors alike. It's a piece of history that was never meant to happen, but it did, and now it's a treasure worth seeking out. Now, here's the million-dollar question. Is the 1997 penny really worth $38 million? Well, the answer isn't straightforward. While $38 million might be an exaggerated figure, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility for an extremely rare, high-quality 1997 double die penny. Depending on the condition, some of these coins could fetch hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars at auction. But remember, finding a penny worth millions is incredibly rare. The condition of the coin, how many errors were made, and the market demand all play a part in determining its value. But regardless of the exact number, one thing is clear. A rare, misstruck 1997 penny could be worth far more than you ever imagined. That's it for today's deep dive into the world of the 1997 US penny. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more amazing coin stories. Have you ever come across a rare coin? Let us know in the comments below, and who knows, maybe you'll find a treasure of your own. Until next time, keep on searching, keep on collecting, and happy hunting. Next. Today, we're talking about a coin that's probably sitting in your pocket right now, but with a twist, the 2014 D1 coin. It may seem like just another penny, but what if I told you this coin could be worth a staggering $38 million? You heard that right. Stick with me as we unravel the mystery, history, and incredible value behind this rare treasure. We all know pennies aren't worth much, right? I mean, it's just 1 cent. But sometimes, a simple coin like this can be far more valuable than you might think. So what makes the 2014 D penny so special? Let's get into it. Let's first take a step back and talk about the basics. The U.S. Mint produced the 2014 D1 coin as part of the regular series of pennies minted every year. These pennies were created at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the D Mint mark. The coin features the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, just like the classic pennies we've been seeing for decades. The 2014 penny itself isn't anything out of the ordinary at first glance. It's made of copper-plated zinc, weighs just 2.5 grams, and has a face value of 1 cent. So far, so normal, right? But here's where the story gets interesting. The true magic behind the 2014 D penny lies in a rare minting error that occurred during production. Some 2014 D pennies were struck with a double die error. Now, what does that mean exactly? A double die error happens when the coin die is misaligned or struck twice, causing the design to appear doubled or blurred. On a normal penny, you'd have a clear, sharp impression of Lincoln's portrait and the date. But with a double die error, the impression of the date or even parts of Lincoln's image appear doubled or blurry. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is not properly aligned, leading to an overlapping or ghostly image. The result is a coin that's far more interesting and valuable than the typical penny. You might be thinking, it's just a minting error. How could it be worth $38 million? Well, that's where things get wild. The thing about minting errors is that they can make a coin incredibly rare and highly desirable to collectors. The 2014 D double die penny is not something you're going to find in your pocket every day. In fact, it's believed that only a few of these rare double die pennies exist. Coins with errors like this can fetch enormous amounts at auctions. Collectors are always on the lookout for rare, unique coins, and the 2014 D double die penny is definitely one of those highly sought-after treasures. The combination of rarity, the double die error, and the growing interest in coin collecting can drive prices through the roof. Some experts estimate that these 2014 D double die pennies could be worth upwards of $38 million. The exact value is tough to pin down, because no one knows for sure how many exist or where they'll show up. But what we do know is that coin collectors are willing to pay big money for these elusive, misstruck pennies. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rarities, you could be looking at a life-changing payday. So how can you tell if the penny in your pocket is worth millions? Well, you'll need to look closely. The most obvious feature of a double die error is the doubling of certain details. Focus on the date. The numbers in the year 2014 will appear doubled or blurry. You'll also want to examine the word liberty and the motto "In God We Trust," which might show signs of doubling as well. Use a magnifying glass or a coin microscope to inspect the details. The doubling effect will be easy to spot under magnification, and it'll make the coin stand out from regular, non-error pennies. If you're wondering where to find a 2014 D double die penny, well, it's not going to be easy. These coins are incredibly rare, and most are likely tucked away in private collections. But you might still be able to find one at coin shops, estate sales, or through online auctions. Some rare coins make their way onto platforms like eBay or specialized numismatic auction sites. Just keep in mind that the value of the coin will depend on its condition, the clarity of the doubling, and the demand among collectors. And remember, it's not just about finding any old 2014 D penny. You're looking for the error version. Minting errors have always fascinated collectors. From the famous 1913 Liberty Head nickel to the 1943 copper penny, these rare mistakes have become some of the most valuable and iconic coins in history. The 2014 D double die penny joins this elite group of rare coins that collectors will stop at nothing to get their hands on. The allure of minting errors is simple. They're anomalies in an otherwise predictable process. A coin that's meant to be identical to millions of others is suddenly unique. It's that rarity, that mistake, that makes these coins so special. And that's what makes the 2014 D penny worth so much more than just a penny. So, is the 2014 D penny really worth $38 million? Well, While there's no guarantee you'll find one of these pennies worth millions, it's clear that this coin has the potential to be extremely valuable. With its rare double die error and the high demand among collectors, it's a coin that could fetch a significant price at auction. If you ever come across one of these rare coins, don't just throw it into your change jar. Take a close look and see if it's one of the elusive double die pennies. It might just be your ticket to a fortune. Thanks for watching today's video on the incredible 2014 D1 coin. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more coin-related content. Have you ever come across a rare coin? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, you might just find a treasure of your own. Last, have you ever stopped to think that a simple 1-cent coin could be worth millions of dollars? Sounds crazy, right? But today, we're going to talk about a 2000 US 1-cent coin that might just be hiding a huge payday. Believe it or not, this penny could be worth as much as $27 million. Stick with us, and you'll see why this coin isn't just another ordinary penny. Let's get into it. Now, we all know pennies are about as common as it gets, right? They've been part of our lives for decades. But every once in a while, a coin comes along that shatters our expectations, and the 2000 US penny is just that kind of coin. But what makes this penny so special? It's not the design, and it's certainly not the face value. No, this penny's value lies in something much more extraordinary. A rare error that could make it worth millions. Let's dive into the fascinating story of the 2001 coin. Before we dive into the rare error that makes this coin worth so much, let's start with the basics. The 2000 US 1-cent coin was part of the regular series of pennies produced by the US Mint. At the time, the penny featured the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, that's the front side of the coin, and the reverse, the back side, showed the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in place since 1959. This penny was minted from copper-plated zinc, just like most modern pennies, and it weighed 2.5 grams. In terms of design, nothing about the 2000 penny was particularly unique or different from previous years. It had a face value of 1 cent, which, let's face it, isn't much. We're talking about a coin you might find in your pocket or even at the bottom of your couch cushions. But here's where things start to get interesting. What makes the 2000 penny so special is an incredibly rare minting error that occurred during production. This error is known as the off-center strike. You see, the dies used to stamp designs onto coins are supposed to line up perfectly with the blank coin. But sometimes, due to a misalignment, the die strikes the coin in the wrong position. This results in part of the coin being blank or the design being off-center. For the 2000 penny, this error created a coin where the design was not perfectly aligned. This means you'll find an incomplete or uneven design on the penny. The word liberty, for instance, may be partially missing or displaced, and the date might be misaligned or cut off altogether. If you come across a 2000 penny like this, you could be holding on to something far more valuable than just 1 cent. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would an error like this make the 2000 penny worth so much money? Well, it all comes down to rarity and collector demand. Minting errors like the off-center strike are rare, and collectors are always on the lookout for these unique pieces. The rarer the coin, the more valuable it becomes. When it comes to errors like these, a few factors determine the coin's value: how extreme the misstrike is, the condition of the coin, and its rarity. A well-struck off-center penny from the year 2000 can fetch upwards of thousands of dollars at auction, and in some cases, the value can go much higher, depending on the demand and the coin's specific characteristics. For example, a perfectly off-center 2000 penny could easily fetch tens of thousands of dollars, and in rare cases, even more than that. In fact, Experts have estimated that the right 2000 off-center penny could be worth up to $27 million, especially if it's in excellent condition and features a particularly dramatic misalignment. These types of coins are so rare that they can attract fierce bidding in auctions. So how can you tell if you've got one of these valuable 2000 pennies on your hands? The first thing you want to do is examine the coin closely. With an off-center penny, you'll notice that part of the design is missing, shifted, or distorted. The letters in Liberty might appear cut off, or the date might be partially illegible. In some cases, part of the design may even be completely absent from one side of the coin. Another key feature to look for is how far off-center the design is. If the misalignment is slight, the penny might only be worth a small amount more than face value. But if the design is dramatically shifted, to the point where it's obvious and noticeable, that's when the penny's value skyrockets. Use a magnifying glass to get a closer look, especially around the date and text, and check for any major design shifts. Finding a 2000 off-center penny isn't easy. These errors are rare, and they don't just pop up every day. But there are a few places you can check to hunt down one of these valuable coins. You can try local coin shops, estate sales, or even online auction sites like eBay. But be cautious and do your research before purchasing one of these coins. Make sure the seller has provided clear pictures of the error and that the coin is authentic. Look for listings that specifically mention off-center strike or minting error in the description. And if you're buying online, check the seller's reputation and reviews to avoid any potential scams. Minting errors have fascinated coin collectors for centuries. From the famous 1943 copper penny to the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, these unique mistakes have become some of the most valuable and sought-after coins in history. The same goes for the 2000 off-center penny. The allure of minting errors lies in their rarity and their unintentional uniqueness. They're coins that were never supposed to be, and that's what makes them so special. Collectors love the story behind these mistakes, and the rarity ensures they will continue to be valuable for generations. So, is the 2000 off-center penny really worth $27 million? While there's no guarantee that every off-center penny will fetch that kind of money, it's definitely within the realm of possibility. The exact value will depend on factors like the severity of the off-center strike, the condition of the coin, and the demand among collectors. If you find an off-center penny from 2000 that's in great condition with a dramatic error, don't be surprised if you end up with a coin that's worth much more than a single cent. It could be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions depending on the factors involved. That's all for today's deep dive into the world of the 2000 US off-center penny. I hope you learned something new about this incredibly rare coin. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future coin content. Have you ever found a rare coin? Let us know in the comments below. And who knows, maybe you'll discover a hidden treasure. Until next time, happy hunting and keep collecting those coins.